for an opening statement of 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Webster, for another opportunity to dive deeper into the Coast Guard missions. Before we get started, I too want to begin by acknowledging the bravery of the survivors who came forward to testify in the Senate about a culture of sexual assault, sexual harassment, cover-up abuse, and retaliation in the Coast Guard this morning. I hope our witnesses and every leader in the Coast Guard, was watching. Your stories were deeply impactful, and I am committed to doing everything I can to ensure it doesn't happen to another person. The U.S. Coast Guard is vital to national security, but the role in protecting this nation is oftentimes forgotten. With Coast Guard presence on all 7 continents, their missions extend far beyond our shores. Coast Guard operations in areas like the Arctic and the Indo-Pacific directly support U.S. foreign policy and national security objectives in these regions. Their unique capabilities, mission sets, and long-standing partnerships allow the Coast Guard to be valuable in enhancing maritime governance, safety, and security throughout the world. Cutters and crews regularly engage in professional exchanges and capacity building with partner nations to support a free and open Indo-Pacific. This comes at a time when tensions are high in areas like the South China Sea, where maritime encounters between China and allied nations have increased. A white-hulled cutter poses a less significant threat compared to a gray-hulled Navy vessel, giving the Coast Guard the ability to conduct international diplomacy. As our climate continues to change, the Arctic is melting at an alarming rate, opening up shipping lanes and leading to an increase in commercial traffic in areas once inaccessible. The Coast Guard is tasked with maintaining maritime safety, search and rescue, emergency response, and law enforcement across this vast landscape, but is continually providing insufficient resources. Icebreaking capabilities and presence in the Arctic and Antarctic are limited due to the dismal fleet of 2 operational Coast Guard icebreakers. Increased shipping in the Arctic will increase the need for a Coast Guard presence. The Coast Guard's budget is less than 2% of the Department of Defense's budget comparatively. Yet, along with significant mission growth elsewhere, the Coast Guard is continually expected to increase its assistance to DoD. I'm increasingly concerned that the Coast Guard is not receiving the appropriate resources to effectively conduct their missions. I'm also concerned that the reimbursement that the Coast Guard receives from DoD has not kept up pace with actual costs. As mentioned last hearing, the Coast Guard is facing one of the worst staffing shortages in their history. With a shortage of more than 4,000 personnel, the service will soon begin closing stations and laying up cutters. This poses a serious threat to fulfilling their missions and ensuring national security. Without greater resources and improved recruitment, the Coast Guard will not be able to maintain their international presence and support DoD. While I understand we will not be able to resolve that today, I expect this hearing to help provide a pathway forward and demonstrate the needs of this service. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you very much.